Welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham and Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio here with you this morning. We're going to talk a good bit of Ole Miss basketball as the Rebels lead by 17 at the break, up by 19 there at one point early in the second half, but fall 83-82 to Auburn in double overtime. The Rebels now 10-10 overall, 1-6 in the SEC. Auburn improves to 18-2. 5-2 in the SEC. So we're going to do that. We are going to talk about a few other things today. Also, we're going to bring you an interview that typically don't do necessarily. But we're going to do it this time. We thought it was interesting, so we're going to give that to you. David Andrews, former Georgia player, plays for the New England Patriots, Super Bowl winner from last year. So we're gonna talk to him as well. So you get that. If you're on the live stream with us, obviously you won't get that. It's pre-recorded. So we'll just take a break. We'll come back to it. If you're listening to the podcast normally, you'll get that on the Rafters Hotline coming up here in a little bit. And with the Oxford Exxon, you know about the good gas prices. Get even better with the Speed Pass Plus out, the mobile rewards program, and much more. Hopefully you were at the game and kept that ticket, because that ticket is a $150 off a steamer pack or a sack full with the Oxford Crystal. You're at the Oxford Exxon. Get some daiquiris, lunch specials, ribs, and much more. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He will send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around, of course, or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. Get You'll love the product, of course, and you'll absolutely love the service. The service continues long after you drive off the lot. Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy, and he'll prove that to you. All you got to do is make the call, 662-257-1900.
So a lot of podcasts coming, or they're already for you. Beer Garden yesterday with Gabe DeArmond, lifelong Kansas City Chiefs fan as he gets ready for the Super Bowl. So Neal and he had a beer garden yesterday. Zach, Barry, and Neal recorded a soft verbal. That is up on the site as well, and all the places that you check out the MPW digital lineup of podcasts. Mind on My Money coming today as well. As a Bourbon South, season 2 of Bourbon South. Matt Moscona, the first guest on that. Talked to him last night. Good bit of bourbon talk. Good bit of radio, podcast talk, a little inside baseball there. We went for a little more than an hour, so a good bit of stuff with Matt, who you're familiar with here from this here broadcast as well. So that's coming up today, and as the week goes off here on this lineup of podcasts. Maybe you subscribe to. You go to rebelgrove.com. That'd be kind of neat if you would like to do that. Also, if you're on YouTube right now, hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the bell. We'd like for you to have notifications when we go on, but we definitely would like for you to subscribe. That helps us out. It would help you out, too. So just do us a favor.
I should tell you that David Andrews and others will join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotlines on the Square in Oxford. Be a great place this weekend to go watch college basketball on Saturday, Ole Miss and LSU at 11 a.m. And then, of course, there is a fairly big professional football contest on a Sunday evening. Be a great place to watch that. Rafters has 17 screens, including the huge screen, more than 17 screens. They have the 17-foot screen there in the up top. Great food as well. $5 famous Bloody Marys, $3 mimosas. Brunch starts at 10:45 on Sunday.
I mean, half the country doesn't watch Super Bowl, so, I mean, is it really a spectacle? Is it really a big game? If 50% are not watching it.
If half the people don't watch it. You think people are watching – What do you think the ratio is? People that are watching the impeachment proceedings versus people that will watch the Super Bowl?
Oh, the Super Bowl, way more.
Yeah, I think
way
so too.
more. No, I mean, the impeachment's not getting half the freaking country. No. I will do a Cliff Notes version at the end of every day. I'll either read something or I'll turn on some news network for just a minute. Just, okay, what, in case I need to talk about it here for some reason or whatever. Just update me a little bit. But I'm not watching a second of it. I refuse. I'm not.
I've listened to some of it in the car, like in Carpool Line and stuff. It's not a terrible listen.
Okay. Sure. Speaking of impeachment and stuff, kind of playing it back into Bourbon South for a second. Do you know Matt started as a political reporter?
I did not
I didn't know that. Yeah, ask him how he got into it. He actually said that on the night of the 2004 election, he was still doing politics. He interviewed Bill Clinton one-on-one the night of the 2004 election.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, got off into sports and has been doing it ever since.
That was George W. Bush
and
versus Kerry.
Yeah. Bush and Kerry. He interviewed Clinton that night. So anyway,
it's an interesting day.
I do not have orange on today. I have red on today.
Bush got news that day about 4:00 in the helicopter that he had lost. So when he got off the helicopter, all the exit returns showed that he had lost. And so
to Kerry in 2004.
So there were people in the helicopter, Marine One, when they landed to go back to the White House, that were in tears. And he told them, hey, look, the American people speak. This is the process.
Mm-hmm.
We have to respect their voices. We've got to chin up. And went into the White House, was super somber, and then somebody came in and said, I think the numbers are wrong. Went from you're losing to
pretty comfortable.
You're going to be reelected fairly comfortably.
Yeah, he ends up winning 286-251. Carried 31 states. Kerry carried 19 plus DC. So 286-251. Popular vote 50.7 versus 48.3.
Yeah.
So he won the popular vote as well, over 50%.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've been talking about this podcast that I've been listening to. When the American pundits say, "Oh man, politics are toxic today." Politics have been toxic forever, man. Huh?
It's my Wicked Game.
Yeah, Wicked Game. Yeah. Politics have always been toxic.
If you like politics at all, that podcast is excellent. I mean, it is really well done. It keeps you interested. It's good. It's really good. I've gotten a little bored in the 1800s a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just kind of have. Like, I was really into it 89 or 1789 or 92 or whatever, and then 96, and of course 1800 because of the Hamilton thing that I'm just kind of finishing too. But then I have hit a little lull after that, but I think I'll get re-engaged as it gets a little closer.
I'm up to date. I'm at 1856 right now, and
now that starts getting interesting.
The slavery stuff is just the country's on fire basically, and it's fascinating. So when people tell you the politicians are corrupt and today, no, there's just media now.
There's just media. It's always been knives and backs and everything.
To me, that's what's really interesting is that people tell you, the media now, Fox News is all Republican and CNN is all Democrat, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it was always kind of that way. There was always Republican-friendly media or Democratic-friendly media or Whig-friendly media. It's always been that way.
Wicked Game, reading the live stream, is the name of the podcast. Is it? Who does it? Is it Wondery? Who is it?
Yeah, it's Wondery.
It is Wondery.
It's
but it's on Apple. It's free. You can subscribe.
It's Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, it's Lindsey Graham.
Not the politician Lindsey Graham, the incredibly talented podcaster Lindsey Graham.
Different human.
Who also does American Scandal, which they could do American Scandal about some bobblehead over there, and I swear I'm in. It is fascinating. It is so good. I mean, I'll be driving down the road going, no shit, really?
Look, human nature is human nature. It's been the same since 1792.
Yes.
Maybe 1796, because Washington was pretty obvious in 92.
Yeah. Like the one about Iran-Contra and Oliver North and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Was absolutely fascinating. Just fascinating.
So, I guess we can talk sports. We must.
Do we have to?
Can we just talk politics today? Auburn, Ole Miss last night. Tons of students. They really showed up last night. Looked really good on TV.
Yeah, they were. There were a lot of students there.
They've got to change the angle on the TV too. You don't see all the empty club seats as much anymore. You kind of get a little more view of this. Like, I don't know if it's zoomed in or what, but I noticed that last night. I thought there was a little different angle. 83-82, Auburn over Ole Miss. Ole Miss, for the third time during SEC play, has blown a 10-point lead in the second half.
It's actually the fourth time.
Is it the fourth?
But
they won the Georgia game anyway.
Nope.
Oh,
they've blown 4 double-digit second-half leads in SEC play. Texas A&M, Arkansas, LSU.
I didn't realize the LSU one. Okay.
And Auburn.
At the end of the day, it's winning games. Is that more frustrating for the Ole Miss person, or does it actually give some hope for, not this year because it is what it is, but just that, hey, it's not a complete and utter disaster? Well, where is this thing right now?
I don't know. I I can do this both ways if you want to, and then people can pick. All right, you want to go positive or negative first?
Let's start negative, then go positive.
All right, here's the negative. When Bryant Tyree's not on the floor, this team's a train wreck, an absolute train wreck. They have no guards who can play.
The offensive identity once Tyree left last night was just abysmal.
Crowley can't help them on the offensive end. I mean, I think he scored some points last night. He made a big shot. Crowley had 5 points in 18 minutes last night, which is pretty good for him. But he's pretty good on defense. Williams is a good offensive player. Scored 4 last night, but but he had 4 turnovers. Williams is a train wreck on defense. I mean, as soon as he's on the field, on the court, I should say, Auburn just attacks him dribble drive. Just attacked him dribble drive. And this is an Auburn team that's worried about the backcourt. This is not the Auburn team of a year ago with Brown and Harper. That is not there.
Yeah, point guard play is not the same right now.
Their point guard play is bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so when Tyree's not on the floor, Ole Miss has no identity. Their last 6 minutes when he fouled out last night with 5 and change left were painful, frankly, to watch. From up top where you could watch the offense, quote, running, end quote, it was so locked up. It reminded me of an NBA offense late in a game when they're just running ISO clear. Well, the problem is that works in the NBA if Kevin Durant or Steph Curry or someone.
All right, for the basketball literate, one-on-one, everybody get out of the way.
Yeah, where the offense sort of gets stale and they dribble down the shot clock to 6-7 seconds because the Lakers used to do this with Kobe. Well, Kobe was a stone cold killer out there. I mean, he could take anybody off the dribble. He could create any number of shots. Ole Miss doesn't have that guy.
Yeah.
And so they need to run offense. And they couldn't get into it because their guard play was so bad. Devontae had to play 45 of the 50 minutes last night. Nope.
48.
48 of the 50 minutes last night.
48.
48 of the
Look, their bench was Williams played 27, Crowley played 18, and then Sammy Hunter gave him 2. That was the bench last night, minutes-wise.
Yeah, it's so you want me to go here? So here's the negative. What are you gonna do? You gonna process 8 kids? Who runs the offense next year if Devontae happens to leave? Because it's not either one of those 2 kids that are there right now.
So on paper, who is it?
Morel and some dude they bring in. I mean, I'm going negative right now. This is the negative.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Henson's not developing. Buffin's showing some signs.
He looked okay last night.
Even negative, yeah. Buffin's showing some signs of being a good player. C is a much better player right now than he's been. He's really starting to look like a guy who, I mean,
Buffin only 2 boards last night, but he did have 10 points.
C had 13 and 7, had a block, had a steal, had a couple of assists. Only had a couple of turnovers. His hands are getting better. He's got a chance to be a really good player as a senior.
Got blasted on the boards 45-33 last night.
Well, 45-33, and then here's the big stat. The big stat is second chance points. You can't get beat like that. 19-6. Okay. That's the negative. The negative is how many people are you going to process? Who are you bringing in? 4 grad transfers? You going to go the JUCO route? Again, it doesn't work. I mean, I'm being negative here. The JUCOs don't work. They're not ready. JUCO ball and SEC ball are just, it's like going from the rec league to a high school league. It's a different game. That's negative. They've now lost 4 games in the second half. They could have easily won them. This team could be in a lot better shape than it's in right now. It's 1-6 in the league. Got to go to LSU Saturday.
I'll ash from 4-2, but you're 1-6.
Yeah, and if you win last night, you're 2-5, and you go to LSU, and who knows? And then you get Carolina at home, and maybe you get back, not in contention for a tournament bid or something, but where you get something kind of rolling a little. Instead, they keep pissing away opportunities. It's got to be frustrating. Their shot selection's bad. It stays bad. Late in that game, it got bad. I thought early in the game, their shot selection was really good. They were driving. They were scoring at the bucket. Their defensive intensity was turned up. Their hands were active. They were making plays. So if you want to go positive, I think Buffin's got a chance still to be a very good player. C's got a chance to be a very good player. If Devontae comes back, you'll have a senior point guard playing his 4th season, his 3rd as a starting point guard in the league. And Devontae, while he's he's not going to ever be a superstar. Devontae's not hurting you out there. I mean, Devontae had a pretty damn good game last night. 48 minutes. That's one hell of a load, Chase. 6 for 10 from the field. He made a 3, 13 of 18 from the free throw line. He struggled at the line, but he made some big ones late. 5 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals, 3 turnovers.
Only 2 fouls.
Yeah, Devontae, I like Devontae Shuler. Always have. And he's dealt with a lot of stuff kind of off the floor this year, the death of his father. There's a lot of stuff kind of going on in his head. His family moved from South Carolina to Las Vegas. It's just life is different for him off the floor. There's some adjustment that's happening there, but there's no lack of effort from him. He's going to bring his lunch pail to every game, to every practice. He's going to show up. That's about all you can ask out of a college player. Henson, that play at the end of the game encapsulates this team's season.
Mm-hmm.
Down 1, they actually got a stop, and Blake got a rebound.
10 seconds left?
9.8, according to my eye.
Okay.
I was down on the floor watching.
Okay.
And he holds the ball for about 3 seconds. And then he goes up the floor. They kind of had cleared out. He had time to drive. If you're Bruce Pearl watching from his perspective, and he would have seen Blake's back, when he sees Blake pull up from 20 feet, he has to think, hey, I'll take my chances here. Blake had missed his last 5 shots. Drive to the basket. You're down 1. You don't need a 3. Drive to the basket. The big kid who I love for Auburn, Anthony McLemore, stud. I like that kid. He'd fouled out. He's gone. Go at Wiley. See what happens. Go with the freshman. See what happens. Maybe you get fouled. Maybe you get a bucket at the basket to win the game. Maybe you get fouled and sent to the free throw line. Make the referee call something. They were consistently calling contact on drivers. They did it the whole game, both teams. I know some of the verticality stuff got questioned and some fans got upset at calls. I saw a couple of calls to be upset about, but in 50 minutes that happens. They were pretty consistently calling contact on drivers. So drive. But when you pop up and take a 20-footer, I wrote this last night, even if that thing goes in,
still not the
bad shot.
Yeah.
It's a bad shot. You bailed out Auburn right there. You bailed out the officials right there, because they're not going to call a foul on a jumper from 20 feet out unless there's a assault. And people go, well, the referees no, stop with the referee stuff. You know that going in. The referees consistently, this is basketball IQ in the course of a game. You know they're calling fouls on drivers. Did it all night, both teams. Auburn played that overtime in foul trouble. Both teams did. I mean, fouls, I'll read the foul totals to kind of prove it to you. I think this will prove it. Yeah. Ole Miss had 25 fouls. Auburn had 24. The whistle was pretty even. They called fouls on drivers, and in the second half, Auburn drove. They called fouls on drivers. They called the reach. So I don't know what it is. So positive is those, a year from now, presumably a healthy Blake Henson's going to learn from those experiences. He's got a lot of talent. Morrell comes in as a top 50 guard, contributes immediately. You got Buffin, you got C. I'm looking at the rest of it. Crowley maybe takes a step up. Williams will be a senior. Seniors are much better JUCO guys than they are as juniors. I don't see anything from Sammy Hunter. I really don't. I don't know.
You really don't?
I don't. I mean, I do question how many kids you can process. I mean, Miller's not playing, second year in the program. Curry's not playing, second year in the program. Stands to reason they're going to get processed. They've got to process 2 guys. Well, they have to process 1 for sure. Because Tyree's the only guy that's leaving. His scholarship's going to Jarkel Joyner. They're bringing in Morrell. So they got to process 1. If they're for each additional ad after Matthew Morrell, there's got to be a process.
Right.
I do question, can you do 5 guys? When Andy processed 5 guys, he got crucified.
Mm-hmm. Took a break, and we'll, if you're listening to the podcast, we're going to go to David Andrews in a second from the live stream. Just hold tight. You're back with the rest of the show in a second. First, I'll tell you about in-house interior and design in Tupelo at Main Street. That's 325 West Main in Tupelo, or in Oxford inside Sugar Magnolia. Got a booth there to check them out. They handle everything in the home design business, from windows and doors, paint, wallpaper, lights, fixtures, lamps, flooring, rugs, furniture, and much more. They travel anywhere, in-state or out-of-state, and they have 30 years combined experience with Nikki and Ashley. So check them out. Also, if you're have a student coming to Ole Miss, student at Ole Miss now, offering 20% off the first 10 dorm room design appointments when you give them a call. That number to do that is 662-681-6241. Again, on Main Street in Tupelo or at Sugar Magnolia in Oxford.
Valentine's Day is drawing near, now just 2 weeks away. Our friends from Blue Delta Jeans are here, as always, to help you get the perfect gift for your special someone. Blue Delta's Oxford studio will be by appointment only on Valentine's Day, complete with complimentary champagne and strawberries for anyone who would like to schedule a private fitting before a night on the town. For our listeners not in Oxford, gift cards can be purchased on Blue Delta's new website at bluedeltajeans.com, complete with Valentine's Day gift packaging. So whether you are in Oxford or not, this Valentine's Day, give your loved one the gift of the perfect fit. Reach out to Blue Delta on their social media or email at info@bluedeltajeans.com to schedule your custom fitting today. That's bluedeltajeans.com. Join the almost had a Anchorman moment where it says he'll read anything. I started to read the next text. I was like, no. Join the Ole Miss Hoops team as they host number 1 South Carolina on Thursday. It's the women's hoops team, Thursday, January the 30th, for a powder blue out. Tickets start at just $5. Can be purchased by visiting OleMissTix.com. Sorry. Join Coach Lane Kiffin and the Rebel football staff on February the 5th for a signing day reception in the Manning Center from 4 to 6:30 p.m. Tickets can be purchased for $25 on OleMissTix.com. Don't miss out on Rebel tennis this weekend, starting at 1 p.m. as the women's team host the Texas Tech Red Raiders, followed by a 6 p.m. start for the men's tennis team as they host Oklahoma State in an SEC Big 12 showdown. Admission is free. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com. And as you know, the Lane Kiffin era has arrived. Be sure to renew your football season by March 31st to secure your seats in the vault this season. Tickets start at just $199, can be purchased by visiting OleMissTix.com. We're also brought to you by the Iron Horse Grill. Iron Horse Grill specializes in on-site large event catering for up to 250 people and off-site full catering services, especially beverage catering. So if you're planning a birthday party, a graduation celebration, a rehearsal dinner, or a wedding reception, you want to be able to enjoy the moment. The Iron Horse Grill is your answer. It's a one-stop shop for beverage services for a 250 to 500 person wedding or even a 3,500 person gala. It's one of the largest beverage caterers in Mississippi. It can service the entire state. So call Sarah Black at 601-398-0151 for your catering needs and knock that off your worry list and let Iron Horse Grill make your event one that is memorable forever. It's located at 320 East Pearl Street in Jackson. Get a jump on the spring sports season by registering for the 2020 Oxford Park Commission's Youth Baseball Program. Leagues are open for ages 5 to 15. The cost to play is $50. All the games are played on the turf at M-Trade Park. Registration will conclude on February the 7th. This year's season opener will be April the 6th. For more information, visit the OPC online at oxfordparkcommission.com.
Now on the Raptors Hotline, we'll talk to David Andrews. So, let's see. Saw yesterday a little more in your age range to some extent to mine. Chris Dolman passing away at 58 yesterday.
Who?
Chris Dolman played for the Vikings.
Oh, really?
Remember?
Played for the Vikes, yeah.
Yeah. I remember a little bit, but probably a little too young since I didn't follow the Vikings.
He's a hell of a defensive lineman.
Yeah, 85 to 93 with the
What was the cause of death?
cancer.
Ah.
Yeah. In 2018, he had surgery to remove a brain tumor. Passed away from cancer.
That's a shame.
Yeah, just saw that yesterday. That was is he a Hall of Famer? Maybe.
I wouldn't think.
Really?
Hall of really good.
Rafael Nadal out at the Australian Open.
Saw that.
Yeah.
Djokovic and Federer will play in the semis.
Yeah.
If Federer can go. Apparently he's having some sort of an issue.
It's gonna be a tall task to beat Joker right now. Djokovic, what he's done with his body the last almost 10 years now, I guess. Early in his career, he cramped all the time. He was a guy that would retire. He was sort of, hey, you got the ability, but you can't seem to get in that group. And I mean, he's just dominated this thing over the last how many ever years.
I don't know how he stays in that level of shape. It's unbelievable.
I mean, Nadal's done that too, but his body has broken down.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Federer's superhuman. It is what it is. But
yeah, but Federer doesn't look superhuman. Like he just looks like almost not a regular dude. Don't get me wrong, but more like a regular guy than like Djokovic looks.
Oh, he's just. I mean,
he's just stays in absolute prime shape, and yet his body doesn't typically break down.
Chris Dolman in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Yeah. Vikings 85 to 93, Falcons 94-95, 49ers 96-98, and then back with the Vikings to retire. 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, NFL sacks leader, NFL 90s All-Decade team, and then 50 greatest Vikings, obviously. So.
Well, how about that?
Yeah, just a little.
I remember him being a dominant player, especially early in his career when he was with the Vikings and with the Falcons too. Now that I think about it.
I guess that's where I kind of remember him a little bit. I was trying to come up with something. I'm having a hard time doing it.
What else you got?
Well, I hadn't decided if I was going to talk about this or not, but let's do it.
Okay.
I mean, not a big deal. Ole Miss had that open doors thing yesterday. Chancellor, senior staff to meet with students.
Oh, I was going to say, you have to fill me in.
Sorry. To meet with students, different things.
See, I get these questions like in mailbag that are like about things that aren't athletics,
and you just have
I don't know, and I know because I've seen the emails to prove it that people get frustrated with me about it, but I don't have the connections. I'm not connected to the university in a way that you are, which is it just is what it is. So I did not know about the open doors thing.
Well, here's my deal with it: it's a good event. I have no problem with the event whatsoever. In a way, though, it's actually poor PR because the chancellor's door should always be open. That's kind of been the point in years past. Prior chancellors, hey,
yes,
come talk. That's the goal here. So I get it. I understand the intent
because
compared to where
ultimately
it's been.
you're a recruiter in chief and stuff.
Yeah, that's what you are.
Yeah.
My point though is where I'm going with this, and everybody gets all up in their feelings both ways. It was that same group the anti-IHL protested this yesterday.
Okay.
Basically lined his office, and here I've got a photo. I know we're showing people with the camera, but do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, they have IHL over their mouse with tape, and then they're standing there. I get that protests in general are supposed to be uncomfortable. Protests in general are supposed to create this type of environment. I'm not criticizing that. I guess I do wonder, though, at what point do you just allow some semblance of events to happen and in order to take place? Where do you kind of fall on this? Because I'm kind of mixed, honestly. I haven't really formed my full opinion.
I mean, I'm in full support of the First Amendment right to protest.
Of course. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
I also am allowed, therefore, my First Amendment right to criticize their protest. With it's not working, you look like idiots. Now, you have the right to do it, but I have the right to tell you that you look like an idiot. I don't know what purpose. My question with a lot of things like this is, what is the goal? Because frequently with protesters, there is a goal.
Yeah, it feels like the goal has been lost here.
Now,
because you could argue the goal on the day that his press conference was to stop it.
Yes.
And frankly, there for a minute we thought, hey,
well,
maybe.
And their goal that day was for their voice to be heard, and it was. Now, months later, and I'm not saying they should roll over, but they would be far better off. And I'm assuming that the chancellor would be amenable to this. I don't know the man. I don't know anybody over there. I am Switzerland on this. I'm not engaged. I would assume he would be amenable to talking to them. But my guess is it is like the people on the political extremes today. There is no talking to them. They're locked in. They're on their side, and that is where they sit. There is no ability to compromise, to discuss, to meet somewhere in a middle ground, to have a détente. That doesn't exist. Those kids, I think, just want to fight. Unless they get their way. And my question would be, what is your way? What is it? What is, again, if I could ask them a question, what is your objective? Don't yell at me in return. What is your objective for him to resign? Is your objective for the IHL to be dissolved? What is it that is your objective? And I don't know that if I asked the not the leaders of the protest, but the followers of the protest, if I could stop time. I always do this with baseball. If I say, if you went out in the 6th inning of one of the baseball games on a perfect spring day, and I said, what's the score?
Yeah.
Stop time, nothing going on.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I mean, a part of me thinks if I stopped time and went up to one of those protesters and said, what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve here? Not in a negative way, just in an inquisitive way. What is your objective here? I don't know that they could tell me. I could be wrong.
I don't know the answer here. I have no idea what I'm about to pose. Frankly, it's kind of rhetorical because neither one of us can answer this. I wonder if this is a group that is very, very spirited about this, or if there is faculty pushing this and using the kids as ammunition.
I don't know.
I don't have a clue. I'm throwing that out there. I just wonder a little bit if they're being incited by someone else, and it's just, hey, go be the bullet.
It's certainly possible. I just don't know. You would be far better connected at getting that answer than I would.
Yeah, I mean, not overly concerned with taking that on today.
Yeah.
I'm good. Don't borrow trouble. I'm all right. I think that's fine. Around the league yesterday, State got a good win against Florida yesterday. Starting to bolster their
State's playing a lot better basketball. They've got a good
Reggie
team.
Perry really.
Perry's a really good player.
I think they were going to re-show it this morning sometime. I didn't necessarily expect to talk about it again today. One hell of a basketball Kobe show last night with Jerry West and those guys.
Yeah.
Emotional, thoughtful, introspective, informative. It's a lot there last night. It was one of those where I watch and I go, hey, I don't know really what kind of awards or how they win, but it ought to win something.
It's I love the league. I live with a 13-year-old who absolutely worships the league. So I hear a lot about the league. And to see the number of players who have come out, like Joel Embiid said, I didn't play basketball until the 2010 NBA Finals. And I watched Lakers Celtics, and I watched Kobe, and I wanted to play. The number of players who have said they emulated him. And then, you remember all the Shaq-Kobe drama for years.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I thought was fascinating last night, I didn't even know this, and I'm kind of a Dwayne Wade guy. I didn't know that about Dwayne Wade and Kobe, because Dwayne Wade, because of just the way it fell, was a young guard with the Miami Heat, and Shaq got traded to Miami, and the Heat Lakers became the Christmas Day game, because the NBA, like wrestling or The Bachelor or anything else, knows that if you market drama, you get better ratings.
Of
course. And so Dwayne Wade is forced to suddenly, because he's a two-guard and Kobe was a two-guard, they're forced to become rivals. Dwayne Wade grew up worshiping Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I mean, he talked about his moment in the NBA. His first moment in the NBA is his rookie year, and they're playing the Lakers. and he gets on Kobe in transition, and he's thinking to himself, you probably saw this, I'm scared to death. And then he thought, you got this. You know every move he makes because you've studied him all your life.
Right.
And he guessed right, picked Kobe, and is driving down the court with the ball in transition, and he thinks, none of this is worth anything if you don't make the shot.
Yeah.
And he took a runner and made it, and he thought to himself, I've arrived. Because Kobe.
Yeah.
And he said he told Kobe about it later when they were playing on the Olympics, and Kobe didn't remember it. And, it was that moment when you realize for all these guys, Kobe was this thing. And I just thought last night how compelling it was with Shaq talking about, how they, over the years, repaired that relationship. And Shaquille O'Neal was truly moved last night. There was nothing about that. Chris Paul, who's now with the Thunder, was super tight with Kobe. They were really close friends.
Mm-hmm.
He just can't play right now. People are impacted in a way that he didn't play Monday night against the Mavericks. I don't think he's going to play tonight in Sacramento.
Oh, that's what that was. It's a Kobe thing. Okay.
Morning.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw that first game back. He was inactive or whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it. Okay.
The Thunder flew him back to Los Angeles to be with his family.
Really?
He just can't. How many people are so profoundly impacted? It's just remarkable. And then in the baseball world, Altobelli, the number of people in the, for lack of a better word, the junior college baseball circuit who are so profoundly impacted by his passing.
The Cape, he was the head coach of the Brewster Whitecaps from 2012 to 2014, I believe. I think his son's a scout now. Played at Oregon, but I think he's a scout now. Maybe for the Red Sox, if I have that right. I'm guessing a little, but
I think that is right.
I think that's
right. I think that's right. Yeah, I was surprised last night to see that Shaquille had said that he had not physically talked to Kobe since the night of Kobe's retirement, his last game. Yeah,
okay,
but they had texted. They had texted. Kobe had sent a text to Shaquille's son, Sharif, the morning of his death, because Sharif had sent him something the night before, and Kobe, one of his last texts that he sent was, "You good, fam?"
Yeah.
I don't know, just how profoundly impacted did you watch the Rick Fox stuff? Rick Fox talking about his day?
I did not see this, no.
So Rick Fox and Kobe were really tight. They played on those Lakers teams that Kobe and Pau Gasol carried to 2 titles somehow, some way. And one of the reports that came out was that Kobe that Rick Fox was on the helicopter. And luckily for Rick Fox and luckily for his family, he was on the phone with his daughter just talking when the news broke about Kobe. And he said, my phone's blowing up. It's blowing up. It's blowing up. And I think it's people wanting to talk to me about Kobe. And my family, and Kobe's family, were close. And he said, so I'm talking to, my kids. I said, I'll get to it. And then he was watching. One of his best friends is King Rice, who used to play in the NBA, who's now a college coach.
Okay.
And I think their team had a game. And he was watching it on TV, and he noticed that King Rice left the floor. And he thought that was weird, and then he saw King Rice was calling him. And when he answered, King Rice was sobbing and said, "You're alive." Because King Rice had reason he had left the floor apparently was because he had heard that Kobe,
he thought Rick Fox
had died in the same helicopter crash. And Shaq talked about that, how he heard that Rick Fox was on that helicopter. Just, boy, that was a bad day for media. Bad day for media. Really bad day for media. We boy.
Frankly, one of the worst in a long time.
Can't do that. Just can't.
It's what this age is doing to everybody. There's no excuse, but it's what's changed.
Well, the race to be first. It's and the race to someone else reported this. I must report it too. Like, calm down.
Take a breath.
Yeah.
There's no winner here.
No, the people who have separated themselves as journalists are the people who've taken a moment and put this in some sort of context.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ESPN anchor did, where she talked about.
She was great.
Oh, it was powerful.
Great, yeah.
Powerful how she will remember Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
And the story about what he did in Phoenix with the sick boy. Did you hear about that?
I missed this one.
So there was a woman who had a friend who worked for the Phoenix Suns organization.
Okay.
She worked at a hospital, basically. And there was a little 5-year-old boy named Kobe who was dying. Some sort of cancer or something. Untreatable. Needed a heart transplant, but his body was too weak to handle it. He was a huge basketball fan, came from one of those Indian reservations in Arizona where basketball is just life. And so she reached out to her friend to see the Lakers were coming to town later that week to play the Suns to see if maybe Kobe could sign something. And the next day, she gets a call from the Lakers people and says, he'll do it. And she's like, oh, that's great. I'll bring a ball or whatever to the Suns building. Suns office is right there in downtown, right next to the building, much like Memphis's office is right next to FedEx. And they're like, no, he wants to see him. Here's the deal. No media, no PR, none. And so sure enough, the day that the Lakers are to play the Suns, that morning, the Colangelo family, which owns the Phoenix Suns, they got a limo and whisked Kobe and one of his people to the hospital. And they went up the back stuff. Nobody saw him. He came in and spent an hour with this little boy, played past basketballs with him and stuff. And the boy died a week later. And his mother, about a month later, sent a note to the woman that said that hour was the best hour of her son's life, and that when she went back, that was the only pictures she had of her little boy with a smile on his face. And so she reached out to the Lakers to thank them, and the Lakers people said, yeah, he does that all the time. No PR. No media.
He doesn't get out.
He does it all the time. And the number of people that have talked about, like Djokovic was battling the shoulder thing or the elbow thing or whatever. One of the people that reached out to him out of the blue to encourage him was Kobe Bryant. Massive sports fan.
Yeah.
Across the spectrum of sports. Very tight with Tiger Woods during some of Tiger's personal problems. Different dude. The more you hear about him, the more you hear about his work ethic, but about his humanity. I mean, he's a guy that, yes, the sexual assault thing was a huge part of his life. It also was fundamental in changing the way that he approached people.
It's evolved for 17 years. Yeah.
You know,
2003.
People change. Yeah. He doesn't. To me, that's been one of the fascinating things to watch, like in social media, how many people want to just make a judgment. Mm-hmm. Goes back to the protest thing. You can protest Glenn Boyce's hire. I thought it was a bad hire, but I'm also open-minded enough to say, well, maybe he's done a good job. Maybe he can do a good job. People do evolve. Attitudes and opinions should be able to evolve, but I think social media creates this, you have to pick a side and you have to stay on that side with no wavering whatsoever, and that prevents growth. Mm-hmm. And you have to give Kobe Bryant a lot of credit. Obviously, when you look at his life, the more that you read about it, the more that you hear about it, there was a lot of growth.
A little more on that in a second. First, tell you about Master Cuts Lawn and Landscape, premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi. And as the temperatures rise, you can get your basic maintenance done with them, from weed eating and edging and mowing to bigger projects as well, from custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces, and much more. Patch your dream backyard easier than think with Master Cuts. Let's go online at gomastercuts.com for a free quote, or that same free quote at 662-607-7773.
We'll have one final edition this year of Neal's Picks. They're brought to you by Southern Craft Stove and Tap. Southern Craft Stove and Tap has your pregame and pre-concert needs covered. So whether you're headed to Oxford for the Rebels SEC basketball slate or the baseball season or whatever the case may be, or you're going to Tupelo for one of the many events at Bancorp South Arena, make sure you get your event started off right with a visit to Southern Craft, conveniently located off Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue in Oxford and at 205 East Troy Street in Tupelo. Southern Craft has all your Southern favorites ready to serve your hunger needs. Drop in and enjoy a curated cocktail or one of their many craft beers on tap. Don't forget about their catering either. From private events to catering in for your staff at work, Southern Craft has your catering needs covered with a meal everyone is sure to love. So make your day crafty at Southern Craft Stove and Tap. We're also brought to you by Nest and Wild. Sleep better with a Nest and Wild mattress. Nest and Wild is a Mississippi-based mattress company making a high-quality mattress delivered right to your door. They make buying a new mattress easy. Every Nest and Wild mattress is 1 foot thick, giving you comfort and support that will last. A lot of online brands sell an 8-inch or 10-inch mattress with less support and durability. But from the Twin to the California King, every Nest and Wild mattress is 1 foot thick, 100% American-made, and it is a great value for the customer. And when you throw in the podcast discount, it's even better. It's a no-risk decision. Nest and Wild believes in their product so much that they are offering a 99-night trial on every mattress. So try it out, sleep on it for 99 nights, and if you don't like it, you can return it. Nestandwild.com. Use the promo code REBEL20. That's REBEL20 and get 20% off your purchase. Your mattress will arrive at your door in 3 to 5 days. We will have a Mind on My Money podcast out later today. It is brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They represent clients in multiple states. They have more than 20 states. They have advisors in multiple states as well. Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, objective, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and so much more. All you do is you get in touch with them, and they're going to give you a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan built just for you. It's pintrust.com, PINN trust.com. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off of your first year's fees.
I didn't really realize this. I was reading this from the message report a second ago. Ole Miss has lost 5 home games in a row in the SEC, and it's 4-11 in their last 15 SEC games. I didn't realize that streak had kind of hit that.
3-16 in their last 19 games against top 100 net teams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not good.
Nope.
Not good.
Nope. Long way to go. It tells you how last season was it was real, but it also tells you just how much the stars aligned. Just how much everything aligned. It tricked people into thinking that this process was going to be faster than it is.
Mm-hmm. Got a last thing on Kobe. I was reading a good bit yesterday, talking to some people. And look, it's family people. I'm not trying to put this in front of everything, but what really is one of the main losers to what happened over the weekend because of Gigi and the way he had whatever is women's basketball.
Oh yeah.
It was really Kobe was set to be a huge change maker for women's basketball over the next 10 years. That's the one where a sport is going to be completely different because of one person's death.
She was going to go play at UConn.
Yeah, she's good. I mean,
she was really good. The more you talk to people about, listen, not me talking to them, but listen to people talking to people about how good she was. She was going to be a star.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to go to UConn. She was going to play for Gino. Kobe was going to be right there.
Yeah.
Wearing his UConn garb.
Yeah.
Being a dad. Kobe was going to be there because God knows he had the money to go to every game. He was going to be there. And, yes, he was going to become a champion for the women's game.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to make the women's game far more marketable. That game needs a superstar. And, boy, you hate to do this because it's not fair to a 13-year-old, even a 13-year-old who's no longer with us. I mean, I live with a 13-year-old. Putting that sort of pressure on a 13-year-old is not fair. She had a real chance to become the face of a sport that needs a face. Because if I say to you today, who's the face of women's basketball? I don't know. There's some names, but nobody really knows.
No, I mean
she was going to make women's basketball. She was going to be
because of the pop culture relevance to it. Let's just keep it real.
Of course.
I mean,
well, and that, and just the way she played the game. Did you watch any film of her?
Yeah.
An elegance to the way she played, a grace to the way she played, an athleticism to the way she played that was beautiful to watch. And she was going to be the woman who played on the Olympic team and made it must-watch.
You think it was that type of?
Yeah, I think it was going to be really big. The more you hear people talk about her. And I've gone back and looked. I went on a YouTube deep dive yesterday and found interviews with people about her before the accident. And people were saying, oh, wow. Her development, assuming that it continued physically the way that it typically would for someone like her, Kobe had told people she was better at 13 than he was.
Yeah, she was going to be somebody that everybody knew that potentially had the game of was it the woman at Sabrina Ionescu, who you have no idea, do you? Best women's basketball player in the country right now in college. She actually is on pace to be the first. I think I have this right. The first ever women's college basketball player to have more than 2,000 points, more than 1,000 rebounds, and more than 1,000 assists, I believe is what it is.
I'm not picking on you here, Ronald. Ronald Mathis says public just doesn't give a crap about women's basketball. That's sort of the point. That's what we're trying to say.
You cared about this.
I'll tell you when the public did. When Cheryl Miller played. You don't remember that. It was before your time. She was must-watch. Cheryl Miller was so good that, the NBA gave her a tryout. But when Cheryl Miller played at UCLA, people watched. People were going to watch her. Like if UConn had come to Ole Miss, for example, and I'm just play along, everyone.
You fill it up.
Gigi Bryant's playing. There'd have been 8,000 people in the pavilion to watch. When Connecticut went to play Tennessee, and Gigi Bryant played, and you heard Kobe was coming, it was going to be different. It was going to be a different event. And women's sports missed that. And when people say no one gets into women's sports, watch the Women's World Cup and tell me nobody gets into women's sports. Those became household names. Not for the politics, for the soccer. Go out to some soccer fields all over this country and look at all the little girls playing soccer who look up to Julie Foudy and stuff like that, Mia Hamm, and tell me that women's sports can't resonate. They absolutely can. Serena, Venus.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, women's sports can resonate. But you have to have a face. You have to have a name to put on the sport. And I think she had.
And a lot of times it takes that kind of thing. It takes an attitude. It takes a personality, and then it takes some parents or some Kobe like. I mean, it's just I have no idea if they have males or females for children. But, I mean, even, let's say in tennis, Agassi and Steffi Graf's kid plays tennis. All of a sudden it goes, well, hey, now I'm interested. I'm in now.
A storyline.
Yeah.
Why is the media coming down to talk about Ole Miss football? Ole Miss football hasn't done anything for 4 years. And now all the media, Lane Kiffin's a story. Like Ross's story yesterday talked about the people at ESPN or SI or wherever. Hey, if you can tag him in any way, do. Yeah. Gets more clicks. I mean, come on. This isn't rocket science. Kobe Bryant's daughter playing was going to make it a different story.
I am amazed. Not amazed. Sorry, that's the wrong word. I'm very intrigued to see how Tiger handles his son as he gets older. Yeah. I am very curious to see what that looks like because I think he's 9. He does have one heck of a swing.
He does. Well, let's project it up 10 years. Let's say that he develops and he looks like his dad and plays like his dad. Even though, let's say there might be 3 or 4 19-year-olds better than him. Yeah. Okay, just for kicks and giggles.
Of course.
Who's the media going to gravitate to?
Charlie Woods.
Of course.
Yeah.
When golf might need a face by then. Might not. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. You look at what Tiger did for the game of golf, and maybe
you look at ages here, and let's say Charlie Woods is actually good and PGA talent level. I mean, sure. I don't know. Who knows? He's 10.
He's 9. Yeah.
But in 12 years, Yeah, you don't think him teeing it up in a PGA Tour event, and at that point you're still against Spieth and Rory and those guys. They're not done yet. You're going, hey, look at you're playing that game all of a sudden.
You don't think that's a media storyline?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Of course, it's just it's tragedy on so many levels, and just to watch. I think we get cheated out of watching their relationship develop. It would have been a lot of fun to watch. I think it would have been a lot of fun to watch 48, 49-year-old Kobe Bryant be a basketball dad. Because he'd already switched the page. They said that, he was the guy that organized the practices. He was the one that would send out the group texts, the group emails.
Well, yeah, he sent. I saw yesterday. He sent Diana Taurasi a text, and he just goes, "Hey, what drills did you do at 12 years old?" And she responded, and he's like, "That's what I thought." And he was just it was information.
That's all he did.
Yeah.
That's all he did. He was constant. There was a story about kind of one of these basketball savant kind of guys, and it's the irony of the thing is it's like a 5'5" overweight guy that's a basketball savant. And Kobe Bryant found out about him. And it was back in like 2007, 2008 when the Rockets had Shane Battier and all those guys, and they were really giving Kobe fits. And so this guy broke down exactly what it was that the Rockets were doing against Kobe. And he gave it to a friend, and the friend gave it to Kobe, and Kobe studies it and like, oh, this is something. And uses it, processes it, and goes and attacks the Rocket, beats them. Finds the guy's number, calls him, and goes, all right, we play the Spurs tomorrow night. I need to do it again. And developed this relationship for years and years and years, and that guy now works in the Mavericks organization.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, and when they won the I think the 10
the title
NBA Finals, he sent him a ring.
Really?
Yeah, would call him at 2:30 in the morning wanting to know stuff. Like his wife would be like, what does he want? And what he wanted was information. It was constant. There was no chance. There was no chance you could outwork him. It's about greatness. That's the word. The word that keeps coming up is greatness, and it reminded me of those stories from when I kind of fell in love with the Thunder a little bit. Those stories early in the Thunder days when Russell Westbrook would get to the practice facility. They had practice at 10, and Westbrook would get to the facility at 6:15, and damn, there's Durant's car. And so he'd start coming earlier. And then he'd beat Durant. Durant would go, damn, there's Westbrook's car. And before you know it, the Thunder were like, we're going to have to start locking the arena or they won't leave. Because they were competing against each other. It was greatness. Not everybody's wired that way.
An immediate reaction, and I get the monetary put to this, will it actually be a push to change the logo? Is that real at all?
Well, I think if you watched Jerry West last night, he would probably lead the charge. Okay. He was moved in a way that maybe more than Shaq and those guys were. I mean,
it's economically so freaking expensive
to do it. Yeah. Well, and Jerry West is a legend of the game too.
Yeah.
I think you have to be careful not to overreact.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to let it settle.
But I do think that it's going to change the way that the playground game. I do believe the playground game is going to change. It's going to go from first to 21 to first to 24. And
whoa, really?
Oh yeah, I absolutely think it's going to happen.
Do you really?
Yeah, and you look at the number of players like Spencer Dinwiddie with the Brooklyn Nets has worn number 8 all of his career because of Kobe. He changed yesterday, changed to 26. 2 + 6 = 8, but he said no one needs to wear the 8. I don't believe that people our age, we're a little older, I don't think we understand what Kobe Bryant meant to that generation. He was our Jordan. Carson's telling me yesterday about at school, he goes, we've always done it. I'm like, you always done what? He goes, if you wad up a piece of paper and throw it into the trash can, you yell Kobe. Well, my generation didn't do that.
I didn't even know that was a thing, I'll be honest.
But to them, that's been a thing. This guy was bigger than what I thought he was on Sunday, and I thought he was really big on Sunday.
Yeah.
I didn't know how big he was. And I grew up watching this guy. I loved this guy. I remember when they drafted him. I remember everything about him. I was captivated by Kobe Bryant. And you see what the impact he had on these guys who are in the league now. And then you extrapolate that. What about the guys who weren't good enough to play in the NBA who modeled his work ethic?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he impacted people's lives far beyond basketball courts.
Back tomorrow with another edition of the show. I'm assuming we'll talk to Jeffrey. Again, plenty of podcasts already up and coming your way for the week. CoverageRebelGrove.com as well with some other stuff. So hang in there. Appreciate it for today, hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.